Okay, so let me start out by telling you that if you're like me and was a bit indecisive about whether you should get the 7th generation iPad or just cough up your money on the Pro, then I've got the answer right here for you. Alright, so I've had the 2019 7th generation iPad for 2 months now, and it had just been the best experience of my life. I'm not exaggerating here, I just cannot express how much I love my iPad. I love the fact that you can have portability and power combined on the go. Now you have to hear me out clearly here. The iPad 7th generation is basically all you need on an iPad. You do not need the iPad Pro at all if you don't want to spend money on it. I mean, you can basically do everything the iPad Pro can do right here on this device. Whether it's video editing, photo editing, sketching, note taking, graphic design or gaming, it's all here. Now don't get me wrong here. The iPad Pro is of course much better spec-wise than the iPad 7th generation. I mean, the iPad Pro has much better performance with the A12X chip and the super addicting ProMotion technology, which makes the iPad Pro smooth with 120Hz refresh rate. It also had a better design with curved edges as well as a more convenient connectivity for the accessories that just complete the iPad experience. For instance, with the iPad Pro, you can just connect the Apple Pencil 2nd Gen magnetically on the top of the iPad, which makes it a much portable and safe experience, rather than the 1st generation Apple Pencil, which you have to connect in this weird looking way and it doesn't even stick to the iPad, which results in it being much more likely for you to lose. Which I know is a downfall for the iPad 7. I wish I had Apple Pencil to support, but it doesn't, so you have to make do with it and that's that. However, normally if you take good care of your equipment in general, you wouldn't have to worry about that. Now you also get to have a better smart fold keyboard case for the iPad Pro in terms of protection since it covered the back of your iPad, while the older cases that the iPad 7 supports just do a really lousy job when it comes to protection. But at least it protects the screen, and that's the most important thing. That doesn't mean that the accessories for the iPad 7 are bad though. They basically are as good as the iPad Pro's one in every aspect except the safety and protection. And let's just say the double tap feature of the Apple Pencil 2nd Gen. But then you might wonder, how on earth am I claiming that the 7th Gen iPad is as good as the iPad Pro? Well, it obviously isn't as good when it comes to specs, but then when we actually look at it realistically, there aren't any apps that actually push the iPad Pro to its absolute limits, meaning that you can basically do all of the things you need on the 7th Gen iPad using this 7th Gen iPad's processor, which is the A10 Bionic chip. Because, well, none of the apps actually need more than that. Of course, there might be some really big projects, such as projects with loads of layers in Affinity Photo or professional 4K video editing in LumaFusion, which might cause your iPad 7th Gen to lag or underperform, while the iPad Pro can do it perfectly fine. But that's why the iPad Pro is like the Pro version of iPad, while the normal iPad is just an iPad. But then, although Apple claims otherwise, it's meant to be a tablet. Like the iPad 7th Gen is just meant to be a tablet and not a laptop in my opinion. The really big projects which require a lot of power are meant to be done on the laptop or a PC. That's why I said it can do all the iPad stuff you need, but it's not a laptop replacement. Now if you're looking for a laptop replacement, then the iPad Pro is probably your best bet. But honestly, I just like to think of iPad as really powerful tablets and not laptops. Because an iPad is just so fun to use. Like I just always feel like I wanna use my iPad. Whereas with my PC, although I do like working on project on it and it is definitely a fun experience, it's more of a bit of a workstation rather than something you'd use for general entertainment, and I just tend to use my iPad much more since it's so easy to use and so portable. Like I could just be lying there on my bed and all of a sudden I want to watch a video. Well, if I were to do it on a PC, then I have to get out of bed, go to my desk and then boot up my PC, open up Chrome, then get to YouTube, and then look for the video that I'm looking for. Whilst on my iPad, all I have to do is grab my iPad, use Touch ID to unlock it, open the YouTube app, and I'm in. You see how simple it is? Going back to the fact that the iPad 7 can do everything you need, I do a lot of sketching and note taking on my iPad, and it doesn't even break a sweat. I also graphic design and photo edit a bunch on my iPad, and it never fails me. I honestly haven't done that much of really professional video editing on the iPad, but what I have done is some simple edits which turned up really well. I also do some gaming on my iPad either by using the touch controller or connecting my PS4 controller to it, and it hasn't underperformed in that either. And of course, general entertainment like watching YouTube or Netflix or browsing through the internet is so smooth and flawless thanks to Apple's clean interface and the way they optimize their products to work so well. I mean seriously, The iPad 7 has only 2 gigs of RAM and it works much faster and smoother than loads of laptops that have 8 gigs of RAM. Now on to pricing. I also think that the iPad 7 generation is the best tech gadget you can get at this price point. Starting at $329 US, you get a full-blown iPad that is powerful and capable of at least 90% of anybody's needs. And since the introduction of iPadOS, things are only going to go upwards from now on. iPadOS seriously takes your iPad to a whole new level. And I've heard rumors that Apple will be officially bringing mouse support to the iPad in iPadOS 14, and they're even building a keyboard case with a built-in trackpad, which is mind-blowing to even think about, coming to an iPad that is this portable and fun to use. If you add the smart keyboard case and the Apple Pencil, you get to pay a total of $590 in total. Now compare that to the iPad Pro, which starts at $750 US, and if you add the smart keyboard folio and the second gen Apple Pencil, you get a total price of $1,060, which is nearly as doubled at the 7th gen iPad's price. So honestly, if you don't need the more powerful specs and the promotion technology and all that stuff, just save your money and buy the 7th gen iPad because it can basically do everything you need. I must confess though, that if I save up and have enough money to buy the iPad Pro, I'd buy the iPad Pro. I'd get it just because I want to turn it into my main video editing machine for this channel. And although this iPad that I currently am using can do it, it just isn't as convenient if I add LUTs and all of that and more powerful effects and stuff. It'll probably just underperform. But if you're a general user that just wants an iPad to enjoy, then honestly just get the 7th gen iPad. Of course it kind of is stupid of me to upgrade just because of video editing. But I just want to be able to video edit professionally on the go, since it would help me upload much more to the channel. I mean, I have another football dedicated channel, which by the way will be linked in the description, that needs much more powerful video editing and After Effects and all that kind of stuff. And that needs to be done on a PC, because you just cannot do that on an iPad. Not the Pro, not the normal one, just impossible at the moment. But for tech videos like this one that I don't need much video editing, I can just do it on my iPad, since that would be much better and more convenient. So should you get the 7th generation iPad? Yes, 100%, because it is the best iPad when you look at it from a price to value point of view. However, if you ask whether you should get the 7th gen iPad or the iPad Pro, then again it would depend. For most people, I would recommend the 7th gen iPad, but if you're a pro user who really will need to get a lot of his or her iPad, then get the iPad Pro. Can it do anything that the iPad 7th gen can't do? No, the iPad 7 is capable of doing everything an iPad Pro can do. Well, except for Face ID and stuff, but that's more for ergonomics than usability. But what the Pro can do is provide more power and efficiency for those who need it. And it also does look more futuristic. I mean, I wouldn't expect Apple to upgrade the iPad Pro's design for at least the next 4 or 5 years, whilst the iPad 7th gen might have an outdated design in 2 years or so. But again, if I were you and you're a general user, then I would get the iPad 7th generation and save my money. And even if you have to do some powerful stuff for your business or whatever, then just do it on your laptop or computer and it'll be much more professional than doing it on an iPad. And honestly, I don't think the iPads are there yet to be a complete laptop or computer replacement anyways, even though even if you wanted to, they're not 100% computer or laptop replacement. It still depends on what you're gonna do. If you're just replying to emails, writing scripts, articles or stuff, that could be any iPad could be your laptop replacement. But for video editing, graphic design, music production, all that kind of stuff, I honestly think it's just not there yet. We're still a couple of years behind. I mean, iPads sure can do some computer stuff, but it's just not as good. It's not gonna end up the same quality as if you use very really professional programs on your computer. Anyway, that about wraps it up for today's video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this vid, and if you did, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe, because it really helps me out and motivates me to do more videos. And if you have any questions, then make sure to leave them in the comments section down below, and I'll make sure to reply to every single one of you guys. So that's it for the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.